Today I'm doing a little bit of work on my car because the supercharger just kind of stopped working. I just noticed the other day it got up to like 100 degrees and I was driving around. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I just noticed the car stopped having boost. The boost gauge is only getting up to 0 and also like vacuum, so it was never boosting. And so I just decided to take everything out. Here's what it looks like, kind of disassembled. This is the belt that you need to run the supercharger. It reaches over there to the other side of the car where this cavity is. I took my charge pipe off. This connects to a blower fan that's I have hidden under the in the horn area that cools the supercharger, and it also is liquid cooled. One of the coolant hoses is here that comes from the intercooler, and the other one comes from the water reservoir and goes to the other side of the supercharger. So it's full of coolant. I made a big mess disconnecting everything, but what can you do? There's that blower that I was talking about that cools the supercharger. I put a little filter on the top of it. But this is where I draw my cold air from. Also, we have a good look at the radiator fins for the water to air intercooler. So the water just goes through this whole system here and then to a pump down below, which pumps up to the water to air intercooler. And then from there it branches off and goes, one side goes back around and the other side goes to the supercharger and the reservoir. This is the pod filter that came with the kit. Some Australian brand. It's kind of rubbing up against the car a little bit there, so looks kind of bad, but from the inside, I guess, there's another layer in there, so not an issue yet, but I might need to do something. This is a solution I came up with. This is not the one that Raptor supplied, but 135 degree silicone, a little bit of trimming, and it makes the really tight bend that I need. And then I just put the pod filter there. This is the bracket that holds the supercharger in place. So as you can see, the pulleys are all on this side. So that'll be facing to the front of the car. And then the supercharger itself is kind of behind it, facing the engine. So some more close-ups, because here's the pulley that drives the supercharger. Of course, a smaller pulley will increase boost, and I think I have the smallest one that they recommend having. I have the highest end kit that Raptor makes, and it's just an idler pulley and another idler. There's a look inside the fins. So as you can see right now, I can spin this pulley and the fins aren't spinning. So I believe the internal belt broke, which is probably my fault because I have my blow-off valve kind of with the strongest springs, so the most resistance to letting the extra pressure out. So I get kind of like a turbo flutter kind of thing when I let off the gas, and that probably put more stress on the belt. So maybe I should do something with my blow-off valve before I start driving again, so I don't have to do this very often. But there's the stamp with the model number. It's all like laser etched. And so next thing I'm going to do is separate it from the bracket here, which is easy enough. Just about 8 screws there. I started taking some of them out, and then all these Allen bolts. Hopefully it's not too difficult after that. Here's another look with the bracket off, and it says number 58 here that focuses. So I guess it's 58 millimeters around or something diameter. So that's the size of the pulley. I find interesting so far, everything has been metric. Like this is a metric Allen key. I think this is a 4, and everything else was a 4. And these were a little bigger, so I tried 5. Too big. 4.5. A lot of play. So I guess they used American imperial sizes for this section. This is a 3/16. So thanks, guys. Made it. Maybe they knew they were sending this one to the United States and wanted to give me some imperial. And it looks like this is as far as I'm getting today. I need a puller extractor, whatever they called, to get that pulley off. I was trying to just gently pry it off without bending this housing, and it's not going to work. Possibly a little bit of corrosion. Just one cross-country drive through the Midwest in the winter, and all that salt that they put on the roads did a number on my car. So all this corrosion is just from that one drive. All right, it's the next day. I used the impact to get the nut off of the pulley and ready to pull the pulley off, but my pulley pullers don't get under the pulley, so I'm just gonna grind off a little bit of material off of these tools and then try again. So after grinding off a bit of material from the pulley puller, I was able to get this pulley off, and now I kind of thought this plate here was just gonna have enough room to slip out, but this is what it looks like here. I only have access to these Allen nuts, bolts, and these over here, and this just looks more likely to be the way to disassemble it, so I'm gonna go ahead with this, and hopefully that gets me to where the belt is. After taking all those hex bolts out, I've been trying to pry a little bit, but gently. That's the only place I really have to pry from. I've tapped all around it with a rubber mallet, and I've heated it up with a heat gun, because it does appear to have a little bit of shininess just above the welds there, like maybe some kind of adhesive, but I'm trying not to use too much force on it because it doesn't, like, I don't think I should have to get this apart. So I'm trying some other things now. I'm going around the other side, which has these really shallow hex nuts on there, and then they have like a little tab that grips a lip that's underneath here. So I'll just try that. Got one left, and I'm assuming there's more that I can't see, but maybe not. So I'll try that first and see if that gets me anywhere, because there's nothing else I can do that I see. So just a quick look at the other side. There is a bolt holding in the impeller, and there's a lug there. I don't know how far it goes, because it's kind of a sandwich here. The bolts I took out come from this side, so I was hoping that this plate would just pop off. And then there's this middle piece, and then another piece over here. So I would have been happy with either of those coming off, but yeah, that's in there. All right, not quite in there yet, but heat gun and prying did eventually work, and getting angry and frustrated and applying more strength. So this is the inside. I can see my shredded belt in there. Hopefully I can read the numbers off of it, but I'm still trying to get this completely off nice and gently. I have a feeling it's going to be really difficult to put back together. All right, so here's the inside. It's a very substantial plate, like it's solid. I wouldn't have guessed that from looking at it from the outside. I thought it was kind of like a sheet metal type thing, but this is just very thick metal, and a groove there for this bearing. And so, yep, that's one end of it. That's the pulley side, and then the supercharger side has a smaller pulley in it. And I see some numbers here. It says 375 5M. So now the belt's completely removed. You can see it is quite a substantial thickness here, so I didn't have to be as careful with it as I was, but since I had no instructions, didn't know what was in there, I just was playing it safe. But got it apart. My belt is indeed broken, so now that I have some numbers, I can start trying to order a replacement. So I had to do a little research on the belt. 375 5M is not the complete number. So the 375 is the length in millimeters. The 5M stands for 5 millimeters between teeth. And using AI, it told me how many teeth it should be. It should be 75. I counted them all, and it is 75. And then the last measurement that's missing, possibly rubbed away here, should be the width of the belt, and I measured it at 30 millimeters. So that should be everything I need to order a new belt, but maybe it's kind of a rare size. Well, this seems like a good time to stop the video because I had to order a supercharger belt, and that takes a while to come in, and then I had to go to work, which I work like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It's middle of July. As you can see, here's some sea ice. I'm at the Arctic Ocean, so not a place where I can work on my car. So this is kind of my life, that I'm to and from work, and so whenever my car has an issue when I'm at home, it usually means I can't work on it for like a month, because by the time the parts arrive, I'm going to work. So that'll be it for this part of the video, and I'll make a part 2 where I put the supercharger back together. Stay tuned.